Welcome to Department of Distance and Continuing Education, University of Delhi, Master of Business Administration, Semester 1, Core Course MBA FT 6106, Human Resource Management.
Lesson number 1, Foundations and Contemporary Issues in Managing Human Resources. 1.1, Learning Objectives. The objective of this lesson is to thoroughly understand the concept of human resource management and its relevance in an organization. After this lesson, a student will be able to understand the following: Foundations of human resource management, line versus staff aspects of human resource management versus human resource development, strategic human resource management and its importance, human resource manager and his or her key competencies, 10 C's of human resource management. 1.2, Introduction. It has been said that when there are two or more people who exist and work together, the entity they are working for becomes an organization. For instance, a bank is an organization. An organization includes people with formal roles who work together to accomplish the organizational goals. We need people to manage people and supervise people. That's why an emerging term, human resource management, comes into the picture. In this lesson, through real-life examples, we will explore the importance of HRM. 1.3, Foundation of Managing People. Primarily, there are 5 M's in management, namely materials, machinery, money, methods, and men. Out of these, men is the most important as it steers other 4 M's to achieve organizational goals by effectively coordinating and utilizing all available resources. The significance of human resources cannot be replaced as all the organizations are heavily dependent on them for swift functioning of operations. In this section, we will learn some fundamentals of managing people. 1.3.1, What is human resource management? As we discovered above that human resource is the 5th M of management that helps in effective coordination and utilization of organizational resources. HRM is the process of acquiring, training, appraising, and compensating employees and of attending to their labor relations, health and safety, and fairness concerns. The term people at work refers to a sizable population of people of different genders, ages, socio-religious affiliations, and educational or literacy levels. In addition to sharing some traits and behavioral patterns with one another, these people in the workplace also display many differences. Every person who is a part of an organization has a unique collection of requirements, motivations, objectives, and experiences. Despite having unique physical and psychological characteristics, every human being is the outcome of interactions with the environment as well as his biological inheritance. Therefore, management must be cognizant of both organizational needs and personal demand. All of these cannot be disregarded. An organized effort makes it feasible for organizations, people at work, managers, and other stakeholders to achieve their goals. The employee forms relationships on all 4 dimensions, namely between management and employees, within the workforce, among the managerial staff, throughout the business and community. The focus of this lesson is to understand the fundamentals of HRM in detail. 1.3.2, Why is human resource management relevant to all managers? First, let's discuss the definition of a manager. A manager is an individual who is accountable for accomplishing organizational goals. Activity. Imagine that you are a human resource manager at XYZ Corporation and you conduct the following mistakes. Number 1, hire the wrong person for the job. Number 2, waste time with useless interviews. Number 3, people that you hired are leaving your company. Remember that as a manager, you can do everything else right but still fail at the end. HRM is about 30% of everything else and 70% of the mistakes that are mentioned in above activity. As you go ahead with this book, you will learn HRM methods and techniques that makes you an effective human resource manager. The importance of human resource is summed up in the Lawrence Bossidy quote. I am convinced that nothing we do is more important than hiring and developing people. At the end of the day, you bet on people, not on strategies. Line versus staff aspects of human resource management. Managers of different departments, in a sense, are human resource managers as they get involved in the hiring process. For instance, when a financial company visits Delhi University College for finance-related placements, the candidates usually must go through 2 rounds of interview. One, HR round, and second, technical round. The HR round is organized with human resource manager and the technical round is organized with the finance manager. In this case, both finance and HR manager are helping the company to hire the best pool of candidates. If a hiring can be done by a non-HR manager, then why do we need HR managers in the workplace? To answer this dilemma, one needs to understand the basic distinction between line authority and staff authority. The line authority conventionally gives managers the right to issue orders. However, the staff authority provides managers the right to advise other employees and managers. On an organizational chart, the managers with line authority are called line managers and managers with staff authority are called staff managers. Human resource managers are commonly staff managers. The following are the staff functions of human resource managers. Number 1, advises the top management like CEO, COO, CFO, etc. on personal aspects of an organization. Number 2, assists in hiring, training, counseling and firing of employees or managers. Number 3, administers benefit programs like retirement, vacation, etc. 1.3.4 Human Resource Department. A human resource department is responsible for effectively managing an organization's human resources, which are primarily its employees. Like a HR manager, the key responsibility of HR department is to collectively manage, compensate, and train employees. The following are the core functions of HR department. Number 1, recruitment and selection. Recruitment is the process of attracting qualified pool of candidates, whereas selection is placing the right candidate for a job. An advertisement published in a newspaper is part of recruitment, whereas conducting interviews is part of selection. You will learn this concept in detail in the next lesson. Number 2, training and development. Training and development are educational and skill development initiatives that an organization undertakes to improve the job performance of employees. For instilling motivation to providing resources for knowledge are a few examples of training and development activities. You will learn this concept in detail in the lesson number 3 of this book. Number 3, industrial relations. As the name comprises 2 terminologies, one industrial, 2 relations. By industry, we refer to the organization, and by relations, we mean the relationship between employer and employees. In nutshell, the industrial relations refers to the relationship between employer and employees in an organizational setting. You will learn this concept in detail in the lesson number 4 of this book. Number 4, conflict management. As the name suggests, conflict management is the process by which conflicts are resolved in an organization. The primary responsibility of a HR manager is not to avoid conflict, but to deal with them and provide efficacious solution to resolve the conflict. You will learn this concept in detail in the lesson number 5 of this book. 1.3.5 Human Resource Development. Human resource development is the process of nurturing a company's workforce. It means to provide the abilities and pertinent information that might help in employees' overall professional development. As a result, human resource management includes human resource development as well. Human resource development (HRD) begins with a clear goal of employee development and is frequently met through training activities that are conducted in an organization. These efforts help employees in their career chart as well as personal lives. As human resource developers, oversee several areas within the human resource division of an organization, including training, employee development, executive and leadership development, human performance technology, and organizational learning. They have become a very important members of the HR team in some organizations. They may be responsible for establishing mechanisms to recruit and retain talent, developing training programs, and organizing organizational development activities, such as planning workshops, among other things. Table 1. Human Resource Development versus Human Resource Management. Number 1. Human Resource Development is a proactive function, whereas Human Resource Management is a service and reactive function. Number 2. Human Resource Development aims to enhance the efficiency of people, whereas Human Resource Management aims to develop professional capabilities of employees while enhancing overall organizational culture. Number 3. Human resource development is the responsibility of human resource manager as well as technical manager, whereas human resource management is the responsibility of human resource manager. Lastly, the focus of human resource development is on creative aspects to motivate employees, whereas human resource management focuses on organizational goals. Even though these two concepts are distinct, they have a lot in common. For instance, they both require addressing problems. When disagreements emerge inside a company, HR manager may be relied upon to find innovative, considerate solutions. Similar problem-solving exercise may be assigned to HR developers when creating new training techniques and systems. Since both positions need interactions with others, having interpersonal skills may be advantageous in creating and maintaining positive working relationships between workers and a company. 1.4 Principles of Managing People. Many experts believe that managing people mainly involve 5 functions, namely planning, organizing, staffing, leading, and controlling. Number 1. Planning. In this stage, the planning related to tasks is formulated. Point 2. Organizing. In this stage, whatever was planned in the planning stage is allocated to each employee. Point 3. Staffing. After organizing stage, most of the times an organization feels lack of adequate personnel, lack of skilled personnel. Therefore, in this stage, activities such as recruitment, selection, training and development etc. are focused. Point 4. Leading. Once you are clear on the staffing process, it is consequential to motivate and encourage employees. Hence, under this stage, motivation is given utmost importance. Lastly, controlling. After planning, organizing, staffing, leading, it becomes important to check how well an organization has achieved its goals. In this stage, evaluation of the performance is done and based on that, corrective measures are devised. 1.4.1 The Strategic Human Resource Management Process. The strategic management process starts with the basic 5 functions of management, namely planning, organizing, staffing, controlling, and leading, and ends with scanning internal strengths, weaknesses, and external opportunities and threats to establish a competitive advantage in the market. This helps an organization decide its strategies. Following figure represents SWOT metrics with some generic examples. Number 1, potential strengths. Example, market leadership, cost advantage, high quality products, etc. Number 2, potential opportunities. Example, new market, diversification, merger with competitor, etc. Point 3, potential weaknesses. Example, negative market image, lack of resources, lack of research and development, etc. Potential threats. Example, takeover threat, slow market growth, excessive regulations, etc. Strategic human resource management process is formulating and executing human resource policies and practices to produce the employee competencies and behaviors the company needs to achieve its objectives. An effective SWOT analysis helps organization in their SHRM processes, that is, Strategic Human Resource Management processes. 1.4.2 The new HR manager. Earlier, a human resource manager used to focus on only administrative activities like hiring and firing employees, keeping an eye on compensation management, etc. But today, the employer faces several challenges related to the functionalities of an organization. The HR manager of today are expected, number 1, to focus more on big picture issues or strategic issues. Human resources are more often used in helping companies address strategic and big picture issues. As explained above in section number 1.4.1, this is known as strategic human resource management. Point number 2, to focus on improving performance. The human resource managers of today are equally responsible for improving performance of employees associated with the organization. Point number 3, to measure performance of an employee and give timely results to the organization. Measurability is another task that is very challenging. Human resource managers make sure to provide well-equipped benchmarks for evaluating current performance of employees. Point number 4, to manage ethics. Ethics is the standard that someone uses to decide what his or her conduct should be. Human resource managers are also responsible to pen down workforce-related ethics. Strategic management process. Step 1. Where are we now? Here, the manager starts with defining company's current business and mission. Questions like what products need to be sold, where to sell them, and how to gain competitive advantages are answered in this step. Step number 2, perform SWOT analysis. The next step is to ask, are we heading in the right directions given the challenges that we face? Step 3, create a few strategic options. Under this phase, several strategic options are created by the management for the company. Step 4, review strategic options. This step helps the management to review strategic options created in the third step and shortlist viable options to pursue. Step number 5, make a strategic choice. Under this step, a strategic choice is decided after performing SWOT analysis of each strategy shortlisted in the step 4. Step 6, translate into goals. Under this step, the strategic choice decided in the step 5 is divided into actionable strategic goals. Step 7, implement the actionable strategic goals. Now, in this step, hiring and firing of people is decided according to the actionable strategic goals. Step 8, evaluate performance. Things don't always turn out as planned. Therefore, a continuous evaluation is required in the last step. Case study: the Tata Group. One of the India's biggest and most reputable business giants, the Tata Group has a distinguished history of implementing some of the best human resource practices. The group had significantly grown over the years, necessitating the need for a shared human resource platform inside the organization. A successful group-wide HR strategy was developed and put into practice. It would be difficult to implement HR policies across all the different entities as many group companies expand internationally. It remained to be seen if the Tata Group would uphold the basic principles and ideals in its pursuit of development and international enlargement. Discussion of the difficulties huge corporations have adopting uniform HR rules is made possible by the case. It also makes it easier to have conversations about employer branding concerns and how to maintain brand equity in a globalized environment. Students can also explore Tata's HR initiatives as a model employer. Tata brand's ability to be sustained in the face of global competition and whether growth will dilute the company's reputation. Questions: is the Tata Group the best employer in the country? What are the reasons for your answer? Question number 2. Visit the Tata Group website and list down some of their best employee practices of the following: Tata Steel, Tata Motors, Tata Electronic Private Limited, Tata Consultancy Services. 1.4.3 Key competencies of the human resource manager. Figure 1.2 shows human resource manager competencies. Let us discuss each competency one by one. Number 1. Strategic managers. This competency is related to the ability required for strategic human resource management, which has been explained in detail in the section number 1.4.1. Through having this competency, the managers help organization in creating the strategy. Number 2. Leaders. By having leadership attribute, a human resource manager is respected and admired in the organization. Number 3. Innovators. With this competency, a human resource manager can create a platform for meaningful work environment in the organization. They train, develop, and retain talent with their innovative ideas. Point number 4. Tech savvy. Technology plays an important role in the lives of human resource managers. During the COVID-19 pandemic, also, it was HR managers' responsibility to connect with people via technology, and colleagues do the same. 1.4.4 10 C's of Human Resource Management. Since its inception in the 1970s, the area of human resource management has been developing. Numerous models have been put out by HRM specialists to interpret, clarify, and promote HR practices and policies that are in line with certain ideologies and philosophy. The 10C model of HRM is recognized as an all-inclusive and practical model within the new genre. This model was created by Alan Price, who published it in his 1997 book, Human Resource Management in a Business Context. The 10 C's or the 10 fundamental principles comprise this approach. These are as follows. Number 1. Comprehensiveness. An organization's HRM plan must cover employee-related strategies right from their selection to the time they decide to exit the organization. Number 2. Credibility. The HRM practices must promote employee engagement and foster trust between workers and senior management. Point 3. Communication. All workers need to understand and accept the organizational and HRM goals. Organizational culture must promote transparency and be devoid of any obstacles. Point number 4, cost effectiveness. Fairness is required in the promotion and reward system. Point number 5, creativity. The company's distinctive HR initiatives must be the source of competitive advantage. Point number 6, coherence. HRM strategies and activities need to make sense. Point number 7, competence. The HRM strategy should be designed in a way that the organization develops the capacity to accomplish its goals with the aid of individual competencies. Point number 8, control. HRM method and policies must make sure that HR performance is in line with corporate goals. Point number 9, change. The fundamental tenet of any HRM strategy must be that existence depends on ongoing development and improvement. Lastly, point number 10, commitment. The last C emphasizes that the individual must be inspired to pursue organizational objectives. 1.5, contemporary issues behind human resource management. Organizational environments will inevitably alter because of changes in socio-economic and political circumstances. Due to quickly evolving business environment, it becomes important to regularly update the knowledge and abilities after considering the goals and objectives of an organization. 5 of the contemporary issues include: number 1, setting up an adequate internal environment. The foremost crucial aspect of managing management employees is weaving an environment that is adaptable to external changes, satisfactory for current employees, and sustainable in a long term. Number 2, coping up with the increasing workforce. The organizational size and complexity keeps growing, just like the number of individuals who work in the organization. The management of a larger workforce presents significant difficulties and obstacles, particularly when employees' awareness of their rights increases. Number 3, dealing with legal environment. Adjustment will need to be made to better utilize human resources to keep up with the legal environment. Number 4, maintaining a psychological state of employees. The paradigm of managers would involve encouraging the employees to maintain a psychological state of preparedness for any sudden change if ever occurs. From helping them in developing new knowledge and skills, working on psychological state is a never-ending process and requires continuous attention of human resource managers. Number 5, keeping up with technological advancements. An accurate evaluation of the new technology and providing training to the existing employees based on it becomes a daunting task, as it sometimes leads to attrition and retrenchment, which results in lowering the motivation of employees. 1.6, Indian laws related to the human resource management. The laws related to human resource management, or labor laws, are inspired by British laws. The widespread perception is that Indian labor laws or human resource laws are outdated and inflexible. However, India as a country has implemented various labor laws centering to industrial relationship, wages, working hour, equality, and empowerment of women, and social security. As an HR manager, one should know the following Indian labor laws. 1.6.1, Laws related to industrial relations. These laws helps in establishing cordial relationship between management and human resources. There are specifically 3 laws pertaining to the industrial relations. Number 1, the Trade Union Act of 1926. The law was passed even before independence, and it stated that all trade unions should be registered under this act. Point number 2, the Industrial Employment Standing Orders Act of 1946. This law acts as a medium of communication between labor and management. Point number 3, the Industrial Dispute Act of 1947. This act allows the government to interfere in the conflict if required. 1.6.2, Laws related to wages. The two pioneer laws under this section are: number 1, the Payment of Wages Act 1936. The objective of this law is to make sure that certain groups of employees get regular income without any unauthorized deductions. Number 2, the Minimum Wages Act 1948. This law ensures the minimum rate of wages to all types of employees as well as labor. 1.6.3, Laws related to working hours. The following laws helps the employees, workers, laborers to protect their health. Number 1, the Factories Act 1948. This law acts as the safeguard for workers to protect their health and provide safety at workplace. Point number 2, the Shops and Commercial Establishments Act 1961. This act is also in similar lines with the Factories Act, but it deals with the IT, Informational Technology, and ITS, Informational Technology Enabled Service sector. 1.6.4, Laws related to equality and empowerment of women. Number 1, the Maternity Benefit Act 1961. This act provides benefit to all women employees working in certain organizations. This act specifically aims at empowering women. Number 2, the Equal Remuneration Act 1976. This act encourages organizations to pay equal remuneration to men and women. This is an anti-discrimination act that focuses on equal pay for equal work. 1.6.5, Laws related to Social Security. Number 1, the Workmen's Compensation Act 1923. The act makes employer responsible for any mishap occurring to an employee while working. It allows employees to receive compensation for injuries arising out of accidents during work. Number 2, the Employees State Insurance Act 1948. The objective of this act is to provide financial relief to the employees in case of any emergency. Please note that only a few important labor laws have been mentioned in brief. Please refer Taxman Labor Laws 2019 edition for deeper understanding on the labor laws. 1.7, Summary. After reading this lesson, all students should be able to answer what is human resource management and why it is important. An adequate understanding of this would help upcoming managers to not commit any hiring mistakes while hiring personnel for their organizations. The section on the new human resource manager will help the students to work on the key competencies that are required for strategizing and creating high performance work systems. Thanks for listening.